In astrology, everything has a birth time, but knowing as accurate of a birth time as possible is critically important. And Robert Glasscock and I have created a program to help you do just that. A crystal clear 30-minute video outlining the technique, an MP3 of a podcast explaining it, and a step-by-step instructional PDF. So you get it 3 different ways, and how you get it is at the top of the funastrology.com website. Check it out and give it a try on your own chart. Well, hello, February. Where you been, huh? Good to see you again. Welcome, everybody, to the first edition of the month of February on the Fun Astrology Podcast. Thomas Miller with you, and we do have a packed month, including tomorrow. Liz Grace Christie gets to talk about the big one, Jupiter stationing, forward, moving, direct, after retrograde, yay. But with the excitement, we also have things tempered, don't we? Including the world around us. And that was, if you remember, late last week, we started to shift energy. And this week, the keywords make the change. The top one today is delusion. And it is funny how these are picking up little nuances in the chart, because tomorrow is happiness. And wouldn't you think, with Jupiter turning back forward? Then we round out the week with delusion and effort. Again, effort, work, energy. But the characteristics of this week are more oppressive from those Mastro software keywords that we've been doing. So before we zoom out, and we'll take a look at a couple of things this month, the general characteristics of this month are really most best represented by our Lucky Stars edition for February, which is out. If you would like to join that, you can. It's right at the top, toward the top of the funastrology.com website. And let's check in with Kristin, because she has the know.
Hi, Thomas and Fun Astrology Podcast. Happy Monday. Tomorrow, Venus moves into Aries. So everyone with fire signs or air signs, definitely be watching out for when Venus is going to be making aspects to your planets. This week in general is a little more cautionary, but Sunday is a lucky day. To find out more lucky days this month, join the Lucky Stars Club. Thomas and I can't wait to see you there. I hope you all have a lucky week.
Thanks, Kristin. And you know, it's amazing how she does a completely independent study of looking at the various configurations of the month and then breaks them down day by day. And then these keywords, and they kind of overlap because the keywords and Kristin's lucky stars are aligned energetically. Just amazing how that happens. Okay, so last week we had a big major national tragedy. I did a quick little video on it talking about the astrology. I'll point you to that. It's on the YouTube channel, Fun Astrology Podcast. And yet, we were saying last week was a more favorable week, a less heavy energy week. And it was, at least in my world. Good things happened, things lightened up, especially more toward the end of the week. And I spent a lot of time thinking about that, because here we had this big, massive tragedy, and then yet through the lens, looking through my eyes, things were positive, as the chart said they would be. So the thing is, and we've talked about this, when you're looking at mundane astrology, you typically have to look to the shadow. The purpose of this podcast is more so to look at the individual. So we are going to take the more positive side, or at least the balanced side. Astrology is balanced. There's yin yang, there's polarity. What makes the difference which one shows up? You do. I do. It's the Yogananda effect. Show me the worst day by astrology and I'll make it successful. Unfortunately, when we talk about collective events like this plane crash and the other thing, well, 2 of them this week, and other things that are happening around us, the shadow side is the more dominant perspective. And that's sad. And the thing that we gathered together to talk about every day is one day it's going to shift. One day it's going to change. And we're getting closer to that day, obviously. Things are happening so much faster now. But there is going to be a shift, and people are going to start to wake up. And that's our hope. At least we can work on that in our own lives, right? How can I sit and complain about the way things are out there if I'm not doing anything in here to try to change it? And that's why we try to surf these energies for our own highest timelines so that at least we can be more on our game. And I know how difficult that has been for many of us over the past several months. Things have changed. People have lost jobs. People have lost people close to them in our lives. So many pets I'm hearing of that are going to the other side. These make life difficult. And it wouldn't be imprudent for any of us to be extra careful right now. Why? Because Uranus has just gone direct, Jupiter is going direct, so we're right in between those two very amplified, powerful energies. So we live our lives a little more cautiously. I have a process I did. It started in Aspen. When I finally got connected to intuition, like I talk about in Subconscious Mind Mastery, I would go skiing, and I would say in the morning while I was getting dressed, if I go ski today, will I come back in the same condition that I'm leaving in? There might have only been a couple of times when it said no, and I started to change my clothes. I never questioned it. Well, now I do it before driving, before flying, anything. I ask always, will I come back in the same condition? Will there be any accidents? Will there be any mishaps? Any close calls? Will the car come back in the same condition? And I cover everything then with angels, blessings, and protection. And with that, I'm careful and I go about my business. So we have to surf these positive energies, and Liz Grace is going to coach us through the Jupiter direct tomorrow with also some galactic astrology in there as well. Let's take a look at a couple of other big events this month. First of all, full moon on the 12th. That's going to be a highlight. It's going to be in Leo, so it's a shining out, radiating out fire sign moon. And the new moon for February calendar is in the funastrology.com website and the Discord channel. Don't forget, it has all the positive and challenging days marked as to the last aspect before the void of course. I would highly encourage you to lock onto that, funastrology.com/moon, and you can download it right from that page if you want to. Definitely a resource to check in with frequently through the month. The other station direct, worth noting, Mars, goes direct on the 23rd. That is especially important because, if you remember, one of the characteristics of Mars retrograde is if you are the aggressor in a conflict or a challenge during Mars retrograde and you reach out first or you're the one to strike first, typically the odds are against you for the outcome that you are looking for. So for 3 weeks of the month, it's good to just throttle back and be a little passive and don't be the aggressor. And it will be good to get Mars on a better track than it has been during this retrograde. And we were mentioning the moon changing signs. There is a big, long void, of course, today, like 17 hours, and it begins at 5:19 this morning Eastern with a square to Mars. So a challenging moon, but the next moon, which will go void, of course, on Wednesday, is a positive. So the moon is not with us for most of the day. It moves into Taurus at 10:30 tonight. That's a great moon, by the way. So things improve as of then. Let's just put it that way. 10:30 tonight, you've got the moon, full tilt boogie on our side all the way through Wednesday. One other quick aspect I'll mention, Mercury, the planet of the mind and communication, is in a really positive 120-degree trine, favorable with Jupiter. And Jupiter is super strong right now because it moves forward tomorrow, as we mentioned. So that's a really good one from that standpoint of whatever you think, whatever you put your mind to today, you can launch into it and lean into it with positive energy over your shoulder. Hope you'll do that. I'll see you back on Wednesday, and we'll talk about that next void, of course, moon, and more on Wednesday's episode. Have a great week, a great day. Thanks for listening. I'll see you back then.